The stars looked different from Earth, Tara thought as she stared at the night sky from her backyard in rural Maine. She had always loved astronomy, but lately the stars seemed to call to her in a way she could not explain. She felt drawn to them, like they held some secret meant just for her. Tara Mason was 25 years old with long brown hair and eyes that shifted between green and gold, depending on the light. She lived alone in a small house she had inherited from her grandmother, working as a remote software developer. Her life was quiet and predictable until the night everything changed. A strange light appeared in the sky, moving in ways no human aircraft could. It grew larger and brighter until it hovered directly above. Her house, Tara should have been afraid, but instead she felt a strange calm wash over her, as a beam of light surrounded her, lifting her off the ground. When Tara regained consciousness, she found herself in a room unlike any she had ever seen. The walls shimmered with an iridescent glow, and the air felt different, somehow richer and easier to breathe. She sat up on what appeared to be a bed, though it conformed to her body like water without getting her wet. The door, if you could call the hexagonal. Opening in the wall, a door slid open and 3 figures entered. Their skin was pale blue with a slight shimmer like opals catching light. They had large almond-shaped eyes in varying shades of purple and silver. Their bodies were slender and tall, at least 7 feet each, wearing flowing garments that seemed to be made of liquid metal. Tara gasped but did not scream. The aliens regarded her with what seemed like curiosity. One stepped forward, her silver eyes studying Tara intently. "My name is Lyra," she said, though her mouth did not move. "I am the first commander of this vessel. We have been searching for you for a very long time." "Why me?" Tara asked, finding her voice at last. "Because you are not what you think you are." Lyra replied, "You are not fully human, you are half Vesperan." "The daughter of our queen," Tara laughed nervously. "That's impossible." "My mother was Elaine Mason from Portland. She died when I was 15. Lyra shook her head. "No. Your birth mother was Queen Selene of Vespera, ruler of the 7th Galactic Alliance. She sent you to Earth for your protection during the Great War with the Draconian Empire. You were placed with a human family with altered memories. The other 2 aliens came closer, one holding out a small device, shaped like a seashell. When activated, it projected a hologram of a regal woman who looked remarkably like Tara, but with blue skin and eyes that swirled with galaxies. This is your mother." Lyra explained, "She has sent us to bring you home. The war is over, but new threats have emerged. Our people need you." Tara shook her head, overwhelmed by what she was hearing. "No. This is crazy. I'm just a normal woman from Maine." The third alien, a female with deep violet eyes, spoke for the first time. "I am Vela, the royal historian. I was there the day you were sent away. I placed you in your human mother's arms myself. You were so small, but even then your eyes held the light of distant stars. You are Taraxia, daughter of Selene, rightful heir to the Vesperan." Throne. Something in the way Vela spoke triggered a flash of memory in Tara's mind. A face looking down at her with love stars reflecting in tear-filled eyes. A soft voice singing in a language she somehow understood, but had never heard before. Tara's head began to ache and she noticed a strange glow emanating from her hands. Her skin seemed to shimmer, revealing patches of opalescent blue. Beneath, "What's happening to me?" she whispered. "Your true form is beginning to emerge." Lyra explained. "You're human. Disguise was genetically programmed to last until your 25th year. That time has now passed." The pain intensified as Tara watched her skin change before her eyes. The blue patches spread slowly across her arms while her fingernails lengthened, slightly taking on a pearl-like quality. Her vision blurred, then sharpened to a clarity she had never experienced before. She could see the tiniest details of the room, the microscopic patterns in the wall material, the individual fibers in the aliens' clothing. "I can't go through this alone," Tara said, feeling panic rise in her chest. "You are not alone," Vela said gently, placing a slender blue hand on Tara's shoulder. "We will guide you through the transition. It will take several Earth days to complete." Lyra nodded. We will remain in orbit around your planet until you are ready to travel. There is much you must learn before we return to Vespera, over the next 3 days. Tara experienced waves of transformation. Pain would come and go as her body adjusted to its new form. Her height increased by 4 inches. Her muscles became denser and her internal organs shifted slightly to match Vesperan physiology. Her senses sharpened beyond human limits, allowing her to hear conversations from across the ship and see spectrums of light invisible to human eyes. Between transformations, Lyra and Vela taught her about Vesperan culture. They explained that Vesperans were one of the oldest species in the galaxy, having achieved space travel nearly 50,000 Earth years ago. They had formed the 7th Galactic Alliance, a coalition of 14 advanced species who shared similar values of peace, knowledge, and exploration. And my father Tara asked during one of these sessions, who was he? Lyra and Vela exchanged looks before Vela answered, "Your father was a human scientist named Alan Wright. Queen Selene met him when she visited Earth on a research mission 30 Earth years ago. They fell in love, though such unions were forbidden by galactic law. When she became pregnant, she hid the truth for as long as possible." "What happened to him?" Tara asked. "He died." Lyra said simply, "Protecting you both when the draconian spies discovered your existence. Your mother had no choice but to send you to Earth with a human family. While she returned to lead our people against the draconian threat." Tara felt tears slide down her cheeks. Surprised that Vesperans could cry. She had lost 2 sets of parents in one lifetime. The human parents she had known and the alien parents she had never had the chance to know. On the 4th day, Tara could stand again. Her transformation was nearly complete. Her once brown hair now shimmered with strands of silver and blue. Her eyes had changed the most, now containing swirling patterns that resembled galaxies, just like Queen Selene's. When she looked in the mirror, she barely recognized herself. Yet somehow this new reflection felt right, as though she was seeing her true self for the first time. Lyra entered the room bringing a garment similar to those worn by the Vesperan crew. "It's time," she said. "You must prepare to meet the others." "What others?" Tara asked as she accepted the clothing. "The ship's full crew," Lyra explained. "There are 120 Vesperans aboard this vessel. All have sworn loyalty to the royal family. To you, they are eager to meet the lost princess." The garment flowed over Tara's body, adjusting itself to her form. It felt weightless, yet warm. The fabric, if it could be called that, seemed to respond to her body temperature, changing color slightly with her breathing. "I don't know how to be a princess," Tara admitted. "I don't know how to be Vesperan." Lyra's expression softened. "You don't need to know everything now. You are both human and Vesperan. That unique perspective is why you are so valuable to us. The challenges our people face require new thinking. Your human half gives you insights no pure Vesperan could possess." Tara took a deep breath, steeling herself for what was to come. She would meet the crew, learn about her heritage, and eventually travel to a planet she had never seen. But that was apparently her true home, lead the way she said. Lyra led Tara through the winding corridors of the ship. Each hallway seemed to glow with its own inner light, responding to their presence as they walked. The floors were soft, yet supportive beneath her feet, and Tara noticed her steps becoming naturally lighter, more graceful as her body continued to adapt. They entered a vast circular chamber where dozens of Vesperans stood in formation. Their blue skin varied in shade from pale ice to deep sapphire, and their eyes came in every color imaginable. They all wore similar garments to Tara's, though in different styles that seemed to indicate various ranks or positions. As Tara entered the room, every Vesperan placed a hand over their chest and bowed their heads. A soft, harmonic hum filled the air. "They are singing the royal greeting," Lyra whispered. "It hasn't been performed in public since you were sent away." The sound was beautiful, complex layers of tones that seemed to resonate inside Tara's chest. Without knowing how, she found herself humming in response a melody she had never learned yet somehow remembered. The Vesperans lifted their heads, looks of awe spreading across their faces. "You remember the royal response," Vela said, appearing beside them. "This is a good sign." Tall, Vesperan male stepped forward. his skin a deep blue with silver markings along his temples. "I am Orion, Chief Science Officer." He introduced himself with another small bow. "Your Highness, your return brings us hope in difficult times." Another stepped forward. "I am Nova, Head of Security. Your safety is my highest priority." One by one, they introduced themselves, each with a specific role and function aboard the ship. Tara tried to remember all their names and positions, though it was overwhelming. The last to approach was a small female Vesperan barely taller than Tara herself. "I am Mira," she said, her voice gentle. "I will be your personal attendant if you will have me. I have studied human customs to help make your transition easier." Tara smiled, gratefully. "Thank you," she said, then addressed the entire crew. "I know you all have expectations of me. I'm still learning who I am, but I promise to do my best, Orion." The science officer approached with what appeared to be a circular device, "Your Highness. With your permission, I would like to scan your biometric data. Your hybrid physiology is unique and understanding. It may help us prepare for your needs." Tara hesitated, but Lyra nodded reassuringly. "It's standard procedure." "Very well." Tara agreed. Orion activated the device, which emitted a soft blue light that washed over Tara from head to toe. He studied the results with widening eyes. "Fascinating," he murmured. "Your cellular structure has elements I've never seen before. The human and Vesperan DNA has created something entirely new. You're stronger than either species alone." "What do you mean?" Tara asked. "Vesperans have advanced mental abilities but relatively fragile physical forms." Orion explained, "Humans have remarkable physical resilience and adaptability. Your body has combined the best aspects of both. Your strength, stamina, and healing capabilities exceed our projections." "Is that good?" Tara asked, uncertain. "It's extraordinary," Orion replied. "Your hybrid nature may be the key to our survival after." The meeting, Mira showed Tara to her new quarters, a spacious chamber that made her previous room look like a closet. The walls could change appearance based on her thoughts, currently displaying a perfect recreation of the main night sky. Mira helped. Tara learned to use the various Vesperan technologies in her room. Food synthesizers that could create any meal she desired. Cleaning chambers that used sound waves instead of water. Thought-controlled entertainment systems that could access vast libraries of knowledge from across the galaxy. That night, as Tara lay on a bed that adjusted to her every movement, she gazed at the artificial stars above her and tried to process everything that had happened in less than a week. She had learned. She was half-alien princess to an advanced civilization and apparently possessed unique abilities that made her valuable to an entire species. She closed her eyes and for the first time attempted to consciously access her Vesperan abilities. Lyra had explained that all Vesperans possessed some degree of telepathic ability, allowing them to communicate across distances and sometimes read the surface thoughts of other species. Tara focused on Lyra, imagining her face and trying to project a simple thought in her quarters across the ship. Lyra was reviewing battle plans when she heard Tara's voice in her mind. It was faint but clear. "Can you hear me?" Lyra smiled, impressed by the princess's quick progress. "Yes, Your Highness, I can hear you," she responded mentally. "Very good for your first attempt." Encouraged. Tara practiced focusing her thoughts more clearly. "How long until we reach Vespera?" 3 Earth weeks. Lyra replied. "We're currently in what you would call the Orion arm of the galaxy. Vespera is located near what humans call the Cygnus constellation, approximately 2,500 light-years from Earth." "Will I ever see Earth again?" Tara asked. "That will be your choice." Lyra answered. "Your mother would never keep you from returning, if that is your wish, but there is much to learn before such decisions can be made. Rest now, Princess. Tomorrow your real training begins." The next morning, Mira woke Tara with a gentle mental nudge, a new ability. Tara was still getting used to. She dressed in the training garment. Mira had prepared a more flexible version of the standard Vesperan clothing, designed to move with her body during physical exertion. Lyra and Nova, the security chief, were waiting in a large empty chamber, its walls padded with a strange material that seemed to absorb light. "Today we begin your combat training," Nova announced. Her voice was crisp and authoritative. "Vesperans are generally peaceful, but as royalty, you must know how to defend yourself," Tara frowned. "I've never fought anyone in my life." Nova smiled slightly. "That may be an advantage. Your instincts will be unpredictable. Vesperans train in traditional fighting methods that have remained unchanged for centuries. Our enemies know these methods well. Your human instincts may surprise them." The training was intense. Nova and Lyra taught Tara the basics of Vesperan combat, which relied heavily on speed and precision rather than strength. Vesperans could move with incredible quickness, their reflexes far superior to humans. But they tired quickly, their endurance limited. Tara, with her hybrid physiology, found she could maintain high speeds for much longer, combining Vesperan agility with human stamina. After physical training came mental exercises Vela taught Tara to strengthen her telepathic abilities to create and maintain mental shields and to project her thoughts more effectively. Orion worked with her to understand her unique biology, teaching her to control the new sensory inputs that sometimes overwhelmed her. Days passed in this routine. Physical training, mental exercises, cultural lessons. Tara learned about Vesperan history, their art, music, and literature. She studied the complex politics of the Seventh Galactic Alliance and the ongoing tensions with rival powers like the Draconian Empire. 2 weeks into the journey, Lyra called Tara to the bridge. "It's time you learned about the current threat," she said as the main view screen activated, showing a star map. "These are the Zorax," Lyra explained as the image shifted to show insectoid creatures with multiple limbs and segmented bodies. They evolved on a resource-poor world, which made them extremely efficient and ruthless. They consume everything in their path, leaving dead worlds. Behind the images showed barren planets stripped of all vegetation and resources, entire civilizations reduced to ruins. They've expanded through 3 sectors in the past decade. Lyra continued. They don't negotiate or compromise. Their hive mind makes them perfectly coordinated in battle. Our intelligence suggests they will reach Vesperan space within 6 months. Why haven't the Alliance stopped them? Tara asked. We've tried, Nova replied, but their numbers are overwhelming and they adapt quickly to our weapons. We destroy 1 fleet and 2 more appear. Their reproductive rate is exponential. How does this involve me? Tara asked, though she was beginning to suspect the answer. Your mother believes that your hybrid nature gives you a unique perspective, Lyra explained. The Zorax have never encountered humans. They wouldn't understand or anticipate human thinking patterns. Your mother has studied Earth history extensively and believes that human military strategies might succeed where traditional Vesperan tactics have failed. It seems like a lot to expect from someone who just learned she's half alien. 2 weeks ago, Tara said. Vela stepped forward. That's precisely why you might succeed. Your human upbringing gives you insights. No Vesperan would. Consider your combination of Vesperan abilities and human thinking makes you unique in the galaxy. And if I fail, Tara asked, then we will have tried everything possible. Lyra said simply, your mother would never force this responsibility upon you. But we are running out of options. Tara studied the star map, thinking about everything she had learned. Her mind surprisingly clear. She had always been good at seeing patterns, solving problems. Her work as a software developer had trained her to think logically while maintaining creative approaches to obstacles. I'll need to know everything about them, Tara said. Their biology, their weaknesses, how they communicate, every detail, no matter how small. Orion smiled. That's already a human approach. A Vesperan would study their tactics and formations. You want to understand what makes them function. Exactly, Tara replied. If we understand how they think, we might find ways to disrupt their coordination. For the remainder of the journey, Tara immersed herself. In studying the Zorax, she learned that despite their hive mind structure, they relied on specific queens to coordinate large-scale actions, that their Vespera came into view as the ship emerged from faster-than-light travel, a massive planet with swirling clouds of blue and silver. 3 moons orbited it, creating complex tidal patterns in the vast oceans that covered 70% of its surface. It's beautiful, Tara whispered. Lyra nodded proudly. Those are the crystal seas. The reflective properties of the mineral content create the silver effect. Our cities are built both above and below the water. Vesperans can breathe in both air and liquid. The ship descended through the atmosphere, flying over sprawling cities that seemed to grow organically from the landscape. Buildings spiraled upward like massive shells or coral formations connected by transparent tubes that glowed with internal light. Vehicles moved silently through the air, following invisible paths. They approached the largest structure, a palace that rose from the center of an island, its towers reaching toward the sky like giant crystals. Each surface reflected the light differently, creating rainbows that danced across the city. The royal palace Vela announced home of your mother, Queen Selene, and seat of the Vesperan government. It has stood for 20,000 years. The ship landed on a circular platform extending from one of the palace towers. A welcoming committee waited. Vesperans in elaborate ceremonial garments lined the path leading to the palace entrance. "Are you ready?" Lyra asked. "Tara, no," Tara admitted with a nervous laugh. "But let's do it anyway." The ship's doors opened and Tara stepped out onto Vesperan soil for the first time. The gravity was slightly lighter than Earth's, making her feel buoyant. The air was rich with oxygen and carried scents of unknown flowers and the clean tang of the nearby ocean. Tara walked down the path, Lyra and Vela flanking her. The assembled Vesperans bowed their heads as she passed, some looking up with curious expressions, others with expressions of hope. At the palace entrance, a tall, regal Vesperan woman waited. Queen Selene was everything the hologram had shown and more. Her skin was the deepest blue, almost indigo, with patterns of light that seemed to move beneath the surface. Her eyes contained what looked like galaxies swirling with stars and cosmic dust. Her presence radiated power and wisdom. Tara stopped a few feet away, uncertain of the proper protocol, but Selene closed the distance between them with swift steps, pulling Tara into an embrace. "My daughter," she whispered, her voice musical and rich with emotion. "You have returned to us at last." Tara found herself returning the embrace, feeling an instant connection that transcended the years of separation. This was indeed her mother. She could feel it in her very cells. They drew apart, Selene studying Tara's face with wonder. "You have your father's determination in your eyes," she said, "and my people's light in your spirit." The perfect blend of both worlds. Selene led Tara into the palace through vast halls decorated with living art forms that shifted and changed, responding to the emotions of those who passed by. Vesperans stopped and bowed as they passed, some gasping. "When they saw Tara, news of your return has spread throughout the capital," Selene explained. "Many doubted this day would ever come." They arrived at a private chamber with walls that opened to a view of the Crystal Sea, its waters shimmering in the light of the setting sun. "We have much to discuss," Selene said. When they were seated, "Lyra has informed me of your progress. Your adaptation has been remarkable, faster than we anticipated." "I still have so many questions," Tara said. "Where is my father buried? How did you meet? Why did you choose Earth as my hiding place?" Selene's expression softened. "Your father was a remarkable human," she said. "He was studying astronomy at a research facility in what you call Hawaii. I was there on a scientific mission disguised as a human. Our meeting was not planned, but our connection was immediate. I broke many laws to be with him. Was it worth it?" Tara asked. Selene's eyes shimmered with emotion. "Every moment, and he gave me you. His last act was to help create the technology that would hide your Vesperan DNA until you reached maturity. He knew he would never see you grow up, but he loved you from the moment he knew of your existence. After your father's death, I had to return to lead our people against the draconian threat. Earth was chosen for your safety, because it is considered a developing world under galactic law. No advanced species can interfere with its natural development. This protected you from our enemies. Tell me about the Zorax threat," Tara said, changing the subject as emotions threatened to overwhelm her. Selene's expression grew serious. "They are unlike any enemy we have faced. Their expansion is driven by biological imperative, not conquest or ideology. They consume to reproduce and reproduce to consume. Their hive mind makes them formidable in battle as they act with perfect coordination. You believe I can help, because I'm part human. Tara stated. Selene nodded. I have studied Earth history for centuries. Your species has faced overwhelming odds many times and prevailed through adaptability, creativity, and sometimes what appears to be illogical thinking. Vesperans and most galactic species rely on logic, predictability, and established tactics. The Zoracs understand these approaches and counter them effectively. But humans, Selene continued, you are wonderfully unpredictable. You create art and music that seems to have no purpose. You wage war with strategies that sometimes defy logic. You sacrifice your own well-being for abstract concepts like freedom and love. This makes you difficult to predict, and therefore difficult to defeat. The Zoracs have never encountered humans. Tara realized. Precisely, Selene confirmed. And you, my daughter, with your human creativity and Vesperan abilities, represent something entirely new in the galaxy. The Zoracs cannot have prepared for what they have never encountered. They spent hours discussing the threat Selene showing Tara. Detailed information about Zoracs' biology, behavior, and previous encounters. The Vesperan military had fought them with conventional tactics, treating it as a traditional war. But Tara saw something different. They're not soldiers, Tara said, studying the data. They're more like a force of nature responding to biological imperatives. They don't fight for conquest. They fight for resources. Selene looked intrigued. Continue? What if we don't try to defeat them? Tara suggested, what if we redirect them? Like humans build dams to control rivers or fire breaks to control wildfires. This is the human perspective I hoped for, Selene said with satisfaction. No Vesperan would consider this approach. We see an enemy to be defeated. You see a problem to be solved. The next days were filled with strategy sessions, Tara meeting with the highest military and scientific minds on Vespera. She proposed an approach based on understanding the Zoracs rather than simply fighting them. Her plan was threefold. First, understand their resource needs and create decoys to draw them away from populated systems. Second, develop targeted bioweapons that would affect only the Queen caste, disrupting their command structure. Third, create a sustainable boundary by establishing systems rich in the specific resources they needed as buffer zones. The Vesperan High Command was skeptical at first. The idea of yielding any territory, even uninhabited systems, was against their traditional thinking. The concept of studying an enemy to redirect rather than defeat them seemed strange. But Queen Selene supported Tara's approach, and gradually the others began to see its merit. Between strategy meetings, Tara explored her new homeworld, Mira serving as her guide. She visited the underwater cities where Vesperans lived in harmony with the native marine life. She learned to breathe underwater, a Vesperan ability her hybrid physiology allowed. She studied the ancient archives, learning more about her heritage and the complex history of the Seventh Galactic Alliance. She also continued her training, developing her mental abilities and combat skills. She discovered that her hybrid nature gave her unique advantages. She could maintain telepathic connections over greater distances than pure Vesperans. Her physical stamina exceeded theirs, and her mind could process information in ways that combined human intuition with Vesperan precision. One evening, as she stood on a balcony watching Vespera's three moons rise over the crystal sea, Lyra joined her. You've adapted well, she commented. You've accomplished in weeks what many thought would take years. I still feel caught between worlds, Tara admitted. Part of me misses Earth, the simplicity of my life there. The familiar smells and sounds, yet part of me feels like I've finally found where I belong. That is your strength, Lyra said, not your weakness. You bridge two worlds, two ways of thinking. You see possibilities that neither humans nor Vesperans would consider alone. Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent mental summons from Queen Selene. They rushed to the command center where Selene stood before a large holographic display showing the movement of ships through space. The Zoracs have changed course, she announced. They're heading directly for the Lumina system. 3 billion inhabitants on the main world. How long do we have? Tara asked, studying the display. 3 days at most, Celine replied. They've never moved this quickly before. Something has changed. Tara examined the data. The Zorax fleet was massive, larger than any previously encountered, and they were moving with purpose, not the usual expanding pattern. They know about me, she realized suddenly. They've learned about my existence and they're trying to force a confrontation before we're ready. Impossible, Celine said. How could they? No spies. Lyra suggested. We know they've infiltrated other species before, or they've been monitoring our communications, Tara said. In either case, they're acting deliberately, not instinctively. This changes everything. Tara outlined her plan to the stunned High Command. Instead of meeting the Zorax in a traditional space battle, she proposed setting a trap. Using herself as bait, she would go to Lumina with a small specialized team while the main Vesperin fleet remained hidden in the nearby nebula. The Zorax want me, she explained. They've changed their behavior because of me. So let's use that. Absolutely not. Queen, Celine, objected. I will not risk you. Mother Tara said gently. This is why you brought me home. My human side gives me insights no one else here has. Trust me. Celine studied her daughter's face, seeing the determination that reminded her so much of Alan Wright. The human she had loved. Explain your plan. The Queen finally said. It's based on an Earth concept called asymmetric warfare. Tara began. When a smaller force faces a larger one, they don't try to match strength for strength. Instead, they target vulnerabilities. The Zorax have a hive mind. Their queens coordinate their forces. We've confirmed that they communicate using electromagnetic pulses at specific frequencies. She gestured to the holographic display, which showed a detailed analysis of Zorax communication patterns, Orion, and I have developed a device that can mimic these frequencies, she continued. We can send false commands, creating confusion in their ranks. The Zorax have never needed to verify communications because they've never been infiltrated this way. They have no concept of deception. Admiral Zenith, a senior military commander, frowned. This seems dishonorable. This is why we need human perspective, Selene interjected. Honor has no meaning to the Zorax. They would consume our worlds without hesitation, Tara continued. My team and I will go to Lumina, appearing vulnerable. The Zorax will detect my unique biosignature and move to capture me. We'll allow a small force to land while their main fleet remains in orbit. Once they're separated, we'll activate the disruption device, causing chaos in their ranks. At the same time, the main Vesperin fleet will emerge from the nebula, attacking their confused forces. It's still extremely dangerous, Nova pointed out. If the device fails, you would be captured. That's why I've developed a backup plan. Tara said, I've studied the Zorax biology. Their exoskeletons are sensitive to specific sonic frequencies. If the disruption device fails, we'll use sonic weapons at close range. The debate continued for hours, some commanders arguing for traditional tactics, others supporting Tara's innovative approach. In the end, Queen Celine made the final decision. We will proceed with Princess Taraxia's plan, she announced. My daughter has shown wisdom beyond her years. The time has come to try a new approach. Preparations began immediately. Tara selected her team. Lyra, Nova, Orion, Mira, and 12 elite Vesperin special forces. Their ship would be small, fast, and equipped with the latest stealth technology. Each member was chosen for specific skills, and each was briefed on their role. The night before departure, Tara stood on the palace balcony looking up at the stars. Somewhere among them, the Zorax fleet was approaching Lumina, bringing destruction. Celine joined her daughter. You should rest, she said. The coming days will test you greatly. I keep thinking about Earth, Tara admitted, and what would happen if the Zorax ever reached it. Humans have no idea other civilizations exist. They have no defenses against something like this. Celine placed a hand on Tara's shoulder. If we succeed, Earth will remain safe and protected. The Seventh Alliance has watched over your father's world for centuries, though humans remain unaware. We allow them to develop at their own pace. Will they ever join the Alliance? Tara asked. Someday, Celine replied, when they're ready. They have great potential despite their tendency toward conflict. They create music, art, literature with a passion. we sometimes lack. They feel deeply love, fiercely protect what they value. That's why I fell in love with your father. His passion for knowledge, his wonder at the universe, he would be proud of you. Tara said. Celine smiled. Yes, he would be, as he was brave, resourceful, and true to both sides of your heritage. Now rest tomorrow. We face our greatest challenge. The journey to Lumina took less than a day in the advanced scout ship. The planet came into view, a beautiful world with vast continents covered in lush vegetation and oceans of deep purple. Its population was diverse, including Vesperans and several other Alliance species, all now in danger from the approaching Zorax fleet. Tara and her team established their position on a small island in the main ocean. The location provided natural barriers, making it easier to control the battlefield. The local population had been evacuated from the immediate area, though most of the planet's inhabitants remained unaware of the danger, believing the increased military presence was due to the royal visit. Orbital sensors detected the Zorax fleet emerging from hyperspace. Their ships were organic in appearance, with segmented hulls that resembled their own bodies. They moved in perfect formation surrounding the planet. They're scanning the surface. Orion reported from his monitoring station. They've detected your biosignature, Your Highness. Good, Tara said, maintaining a calm she didn't entirely feel. Let them come. The team watched as a smaller vessel detached from the main fleet, descending toward their position. It was happening exactly as Tara had predicted. The Zorax were sending a capture team. Rather than immediately attacking positions everyone Tara ordered, her team moved into predetermined locations, hidden but ready. The disruption device was secured in a shielded container, ready to be activated at her command. The Zorax ship landed on the beach half a kilometer from their position. Its organic hull opened, allowing the aliens to emerge. Tara watched through magnified visuals as 20 Zorax warriors scuttled onto the sand. Their bodies were insectoid with multiple limbs and segmented exoskeletons. Each stood over 2 meters tall with compound eyes and mandibles that clicked rhythmically. They carried weapons that appeared to be grown rather than manufactured extensions of their own biology. Leading them was a larger specimen, its exoskeleton more elaborate with colorful markings that indicated higher status. A Subqueen Nova whispered. Perfect Tara stepped out of hiding, making herself visible on the ridge above the beach. The Zorax immediately detected her, their heads turning in unison. The Subqueen issued a series of clicks and the warriors began to advance. Tara held her ground, forcing herself to remain calm as the alien creatures approached. Their movements were unnervingly coordinated, each step in perfect synchronization. She could sense their hive mind, a cold alien intelligence focused entirely on capturing her. Now she sent telepathically to her team. The disruption device activated, emitting pulses that mimicked Zorax command frequencies but with subtle distortions. The effect was immediate. The advancing warriors stopped abruptly, their coordinated movements dissolving into confusion. Some began moving in circles, others froze completely. The Subqueen emitted frantic clicks, trying to re-establish control in orbit. The same disruption affected the main fleet. Their perfect formation broke apart, ships drifting in different directions, some colliding with others. At this moment, the Vesperan fleet emerged from the nebula, launching a coordinated attack on the disorganized Zorax vessels. On the ground, Tara's team moved in, surrounding the confused Zorax warriors. The aliens attempted to fight back, but without coordination, they were vulnerable. Nova led the special forces in a precise attack, targeting the joints in the exoskeletons with sonic weapons. The Subqueen, however, seemed to adapt more quickly than the others. It lunged toward Tara, its natural weapons extended. Lyra moved to intercept, but the Subqueen was faster than anticipated, knocking her aside. Tara found herself face to face with the alien, its compound eyes reflecting her image hundreds of times over, its mandibles clicking in what might have been rage or frustration. That moment, Tara acted on instinct, reaching out with her mind toward the creature. Before her, she sensed not the mindless drone she had expected, but a complex intelligence driven by imperatives beyond human or Vesperan understanding. Images flashed between them, the Zorax homeworld barren and depleted, generations of expansion driven by necessity, not malice. a species fighting for survival, in the only way it knew. Understanding dawned on Terra. The Zoracs weren't evil. They were desperate. They consumed worlds because they had never learned another way to survive. You don't have to destroy Terra projected into the alien mind, pushing past its natural barriers. There are alternatives. The sub-queen froze. Its attack halted mid-motion. For a brief moment, connection replaced conflict. Understanding bridged the gap between utterly different species. Then Nova fired her weapon, the sonic pulse striking the sub-queen's exoskeleton. The creature collapsed. Its connection with Terra, severed in orbit. The battle was turning in favor of the Vesperans. The disruption of the hive mind had created chaos in the Zorax fleet, and the Alliance ships pressed their advantage. Terra looked down at the fallen sub-queen, feeling a strange mixture of victory and regret. They had won this battle, but she had glimpsed something important, a possibility that had never been considered. "We need to take this one alive," she ordered, pointing to the unconscious sub-queen. "I believe there may be another solution to this conflict, one that doesn't require either side's destruction." The victory at Lumina changed everything. The Zorax fleet retreated, leaving behind damaged ships and confused drones. The Alliance celebrated their first decisive win against the seemingly unstoppable enemy. But Terra was focused on a different opportunity in a secure laboratory beneath the royal palace on Vespera. She worked with Orion to study the captured sub-queen. The creature was contained in a special chamber, designed to block its telepathic connection to the hive mind. At first, it had raged against its confinement, but gradually it had grown calmer, observing its captors with alien intelligence. "I believe we can communicate with it," Terra told the High Council, which had convened to decide the creature's fate. "When I connected with its mind, I saw more than just a drone. It has a complex consciousness. This is unprecedented," Orion added. "Our previous assumptions about Zorax intelligence may be incorrect." Several council members looked skeptical. Admiral Zenith spoke for many when he said, "These creatures have destroyed dozens of worlds. Why should we attempt communication rather than pressing our advantage?" Because Terra replied, "If we understand them, we might find a solution that doesn't require endless war queen." Celine studied her daughter with pride. "You wish to attempt direct communication?" "Yes," Terra confirmed, "under controlled conditions. I believe my hybrid mind can bridge the gap between our species." It was a risky proposition, but Celine had come to trust her daughter's judgment. The council eventually approved the attempt with extensive safety measures. The communication chamber was prepared with multiple barriers, both physical and mental, to protect Terra Lyra Nova, and Orion would monitor the process, ready to intervene at the first sign of danger. Terra sat before the containment field that held the sub-queen. The alien watched her with compound eyes that reflected the light in prismatic patterns. "I'm going to attempt contact now," Terra said. Then she closed her eyes and extended her consciousness toward the Zorax. The alien mind was unlike anything she had experienced before. It thought in patterns and chemical signals rather than words. Images came in ultraviolet and infrared spectrums beyond human perception. The hive connection was like a constant background chorus, thousands of voices singing in unison. Slowly, carefully, Terra created a mental space where communication might be possible. She projected images of peaceful coexistence of different species working together. She showed resources being shared, planets restored rather than consumed. The sub-queen's response came as a flood of images, resources, depleting populations, growing the desperate search for new worlds to support the ever-expanding hive. It wasn't malice that drove them, but biological imperative. A species doing the only thing it knew to survive. You destroy worlds because you don't know how to nurture them. Terra projected. The concept was alien to the Zorax, whose evolution had never required conservation. Only consumption and expansion. Terra showed alternatives, rotating crop systems, sustainable harvesting methods, terraforming technology that could restore depleted worlds. She shared Vesperan knowledge of ecosystem management that had kept their homeworld thriving for millennia. The sub-queen seemed to absorb this information. Its mind pattern shifted, indicating what might be curiosity or consideration. Then it shared its own knowledge. The Zorax understood biology on a profound level. They could modify organisms, accelerate growth, create new species adapted to specific environments. Their consumption was efficient, nothing wasted. An idea formed in Terra's mind. What if these abilities could be redirected? What if instead of consuming worlds, the Zorax could help restore them? She showed the Sub-Queen dead worlds throughout the galaxy, planets stripped of resources by mining corporations or rendered uninhabitable by industrial pollution. What if the Zorax could make these worlds live again? The connection deepened as understanding grew between them. The Sub-Queen began to comprehend the possibility of a different path for its species. Terra sensed confusion, then something that might be hope. When Terra finally withdrew from the mental connection, hours had passed. She was exhausted but triumphant. "I believe we can negotiate," she told the waiting observers. "The Zorax aren't mindless destroyers. They're a species that never learned another way to exist. We can teach them." The negotiations took weeks. The Sub-Queen established limited contact with the hive mind, sharing what it had learned. Zorax representatives joined diplomatic talks for the first time in galactic history. Terra proposed what became known as the Symbiosis Initiative. The Zorax would receive uninhabitable worlds within Alliance territory and transform them into living ecosystems. In exchange, they would limit their reproduction to sustainable levels and share their biological knowledge with other species. Many in the Alliance were skeptical. Some saw it as appeasement. Others doubted the Zorax could change biological imperatives that had driven them for millennia. But Queen Selene supported her daughter's initiative, and gradually others began to see its potential. 6 months after the Battle of Lumina, the Symbiosis Treaty was signed. The war that had seemed inevitable was averted, replaced by an uneasy but promising cooperation. The first test came on a dead world called Nexus. Once a garden planet, it had been stripped of resources and abandoned its ecosystem, collapsed its atmosphere thin and toxic. A perfect candidate for restoration, Terra stood on the surface in a protective suit, watching as Zorax ships landed around her. This time they came not as invaders, but as partners. They brought with them specially engineered organisms that could purify soil, extract toxins from the atmosphere, and rapidly establish new food chains. Over the following months, the transformation was remarkable. Plants designed by Zorax biologists spread across the barren landscape, their roots breaking down pollutants, their leaves producing oxygen at accelerated rates. Specially adapted insects and microorganisms established new ecological niches. The planet began to heal. 1 year after the treaty, Terra returned to Nexus, standing unprotected beneath a blue sky, breathing air that had been toxic 12 months earlier. The Zorax Sub-Queen she had first communicated with, now a diplomatic liaison, stood beside her. "Your world changes our people," the alien communicated. Its thought patterns had become more individualized over months of separation from the main hive. "We learn new ways to be, and your people change our worlds," Terra replied, looking at what they had accomplished. Together, the Symbiosis Initiative expanded to other dead worlds throughout the galaxy. Gradually, the relationship between the Alliance and the Zorax evolved from cautious cooperation to genuine partnership. The Zorax population stabilized as they found purpose in restoration rather than consumption. 2 years after her return to Vespera, Terra stood before the Galactic Council, no longer just as the Princess of Vespera, but as the Ambassador of Harmony, the title given to her for her role in establishing peace. Queen Selene watched with pride as her daughter addressed representatives from across the galaxy, including the Zorax, who now held observer status. "Today I propose the expansion of the 7th Alliance to include Earth," Terra announced. "Though humans are not yet aware of our existence, they have demonstrated remarkable potential. Their creativity, resourcefulness, and capacity for growth make them valuable potential allies." The proposal sparked debate. Some argued that humans were too volatile, their history too violent, their technology too primitive. Others pointed to their rapid development, their cultural diversity, and their adaptability, the very traits that had helped Terra bring peace. In the end, the vote was narrow but Favorable Earth would be placed under Alliance protection. Its development monitored its eventual inclusion prepared for after the session. Celine approached her daughter. "You miss your first home," she observed. "I do," Tara admitted. "Earth gave me perspectives that made this piece possible. I want to share what I've learned here with humans when they're ready." "You will," Celine assured her. "The bridge you've built between Vespera and Earth, between the Alliance and the Zorax, is just the beginning. One day, you will build a bridge between all the worlds you call home." Tara looked out at the stars visible through the council chamber's transparent dome. Somewhere out there, Earth continued its own journey, unaware of the wider galaxy, yet already influencing. It through her one day humans would join the galactic community, bringing with them the same creativity and determination that had allowed one hybrid woman to change the course of history. Until then, she would continue her work, strengthening the peace she had helped create, preparing for the day when all her worlds could be united. Not through conquest or assimilation, but through understanding and cooperation, as both human and Vesperan Tara stood between worlds belonging to both, yet bound by neither. She was the daughter of Earth and Vespera of humanity, and the stars a bridge between civilizations. And perhaps that was exactly what the galaxy needed. 3 years later, a small Vesperan ship entered Earth's atmosphere under cloak. Its mission was observation only, but it carried a special passenger. Tara had received permission to visit her first home, though she could not reveal herself. The ship hovered invisibly over the small house in rural Maine, where she had once lived. A new family lived there now, children playing in the same yard where she had first seen the stars. Tara watched them silently, remembering her human life, feeling a bittersweet connection to this world that had shaped half of who she was. She would continue to watch over Earth from afar, protecting it as part of her dual heritage, preparing for the day when humans would look to the stars and find not just mystery but